There we go. This is my third day playing Final Fantasy XIV straight, and I'm about to take on Ifrit. My marauder is at level 31. Yep, that's right. Looks like a knight right now. Right. Here's a dungeon. Oh, traverse. Hopefully there's someone playing. Waiting online for other players. This is the only part of Final Fantasy XIV that I don't like. Waiting for players. Go. Amal Jazelat, Lord of the Infernal Heart of God, please deliver from our misery. Oh, he's praying. Monsters, Almighty Truth, Lord of the Inferno. Yeah, their God is free. We will serve and beseech you, grace us with your divine presence. Oh, it's like Sauron. Damn, that's scary. Oh. Time, baby. Mighty free to bring you your ignorant savages and know not your God. Alright. Bloody hell. I don't want to die. Sorcery. It's bad bread, Ifrit. Alright, here we go. Come on, let's fight. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, he's dead. Red crystal. Damn, I missed that Ifrit from Final Fantasy VII. Oh, sorry, from 8. The one where he looks like a lion. Lion head. Be a ram's horns. Not like this, like a. He looks like an alien. Men in Black. You know, those aliens in always copy. Looks like that, just bigger. Oh. I'm collecting the Infinity Stones. How many have I got? 2? Maybe 3? I don't know. Pray forgive my lateness. Who are these guys? Cops? Oh, it's Tancred. Oh. What is he, a rogue? Pew pew! PewDiePie! I see the bullets one way, said no time extracting captives. What is not expected to claim General Sanders. Here are the traitors. Which do you answer for? Yeah, I was wondering where this guy went. Can't drive on, shall we say. Yeah. This way, sire. Look at me, puffing and puffing with all that armor. So that was the mighty Ifrit. Oh, it's Nero. You spit. What a disappointment. Yeah, dissipated. Should know better than to run on 5-year-old data. Referring to the player character. That is where is she wearing a mask, or is that her face? And she is really an android. See ya, lover. Okay. Looming. Look at that, there's music. What do you do when there's music? You dance. Yeah, baby. Shout for joy. Sing these praises. Lift your voice unto the Lord. Yeah. Rain dance. Sarah G. Power hug. Yeah. How about ball dance? Look at that. Look at that form. That's clean, man. Such clean forms. The lines, the power. Yeah. Alright, enough of that. Let's go. Easy game. Yeah, Ifrit is pretty easy. It's like a basic boss. What the heck is this? Are they praying or something? Definitely a Muslim prayer. I'm joking, he wasn't quite slain by your hand no less. You did something. Yeah. Credit grab, motherfucker. Credit grab, you do that, white boy. Awaken sand, okay. Just use teleportation. That way, it's cheaper to teleport. That sounds like the Marlboro jingle. Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro. Isn't it? Yeah, there we go. Islamic wall. What the? Hey, what's up? Who are you? Yeah, I'm also eager to see Lady Minfilia. Drama King. There we go. Hey baby, what's up? Are you lost, baby girl? Really? What are the other primals? They must consume ether. Hey, what happened? The chat went down. What's up? Yeah, bro, I know what you're thinking. She fine. Really? What? We're going to kill all of those? He's tempered for life. Yeah. pretty dark and grim. All those good soldiers are going to be executed just because they were tempered by Ifrit. Damn. Louis saw. I first heard that name, Louis Soir. I don't know who the heck that was. They keep referring to this guy. Then I found out on YouTube who that player is. It's actually that guy at the start of the movie, the opening scene. The one that was battling Bahamut by himself on the cliff. That was Louis Soir. Mind. What the? Who are these guys? Smooth. It turned into an audition. This guy keeps hitting on her. What the heck? Short guys have banter. Yeah, man. I'm not even sure why you like Ishtola so much when you have Minfilia, man. Just her name, Minfilia, right? He's the Bay of Bays here, so far. I haven't seen the others yet, but so far. Link Pearl with you at all times. Alright. Gotta keep tabs on me, Bay. No problem. Such a rude. Damn, I just want to graduate into being a warrior. I have to attend all these. I tried looking for the quest earlier today when I reached level 30 and I can't find the quest giver. And I found out that you need to finish the main story quest for level 20. Something about sylphs before it shows, so now I need to go through this. Ceremony, boring ceremony. Let's fast forward through that. He's a good character. And he's very dynamic. Remember Lewis from season 1? He grew from that. Unlike Mike. What was he on season 1 up to season 9? Right now he's showing up from time to time in season 9. He's the same character. He never grew. A wisecracking wise guy who thinks he's smarter than everyone else in the room. That's just Mike. So he got pretty boring after season 2, I think. Mike got pretty boring. Then he got an injection to his character when he went to prison. And after that it got boring again. That's why by the time season 7 rolled around I was already tired of Mike Ross. games.
I lost my
It
son
runs
to the
on
calamity.
i3, really.
The 3 seed seers are all together.
I'll try to install
Some
it.
say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body.
Yeah, just have to tweak the graphical settings, right? I'll try to run it first on minimum settings.
Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the green wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest.
Yeah,
Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals
PS3,
and were granted a
Xbox
place
360
beneath the boughs.
caliber, right?
So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hure and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization. And soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today. I was
just wondering why this wasn't released on Xbox.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seed Seer.
So honestly, I tested both controllers. I have here PS3 controller and an Xbox 360 controller, and I prefer the Xbox 360 controller. Especially when nagbababad ka. What do you call that? Addict gaming.
The entwined serpents represent
Xbox
the unity between
is
Hure
more
and Elysian.
friendly to your
An elegant
purple.
symbol. Do you not
What do you call
agree?
that? It's more ergonomic.
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life.
But man, I know
Ever
that
have we
Squaresoft
fought
had
to
an
protect the
exclusive
sanctity of the
partnership with Sony,
Twelveswood.
but remember, Final Fantasy 13 that came out on Xbox 360. 13 and the sequels, 13-2 and Lightning Returns, that's also an Xbox. And there was an announcement before that they were going to release it on Xbox One. In fact, Phil Spencer of Xbox already mentioned that they are going to get Final Fantasy 14 online. For some reason, it didn't push through.
When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin
15 as
Adder
well, man.
that we might push back the
15 is
encroaching
also on
darkness.
Xbox One.
And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat.
Yeah, it's on Xbox One. Have you been
5
seeing the
years
game
ago,
on Data Blitz?
the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano.
Even on Switch, they have a version of Final Fantasy 15. The one made for mobile, it's on Switch.
It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive.
So they will
Driven
release
to
games
desperation,
first on Sony,
some among us
but
have
after a few
strayed from the
months, maybe
path
6
of
months or more,
righteousness,
they can release
resorting
it
to
on Xbox.
banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, The Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease,
This is a
and
long
prey
speech.
upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk
pox
the
on a
high
bloody
roads without
Ixal.
fear.
Alright.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
That's a weird salute. It's like he's
And how do you
sleeping.
propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
Who are these guys?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let
Those
none
people
be
go for
mistaken.
swords, yes.
The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are
Well,
to stand against
Not
them,
entirely because
we
of
must
Final Fantasy,
remember
bro.
what it is
Because
to be
Final Fantasy
united.
is no longer exclusive to Sony. It's because Sony has more exclusives that people want, like Uncharted, what do you call that? Last Among Us, Spider-Man. And Microsoft really doesn't have any exclusive nowadays. Because anything they release on Xbox, they also release it on PC and even on Nintendo Switch. So
Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our
yeah,
fellow
but
man.
Halo's on PC too.
Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs.
Is Cat
serenity,
an elven,
purity,
or is she
and sanctity.
a Ewer?
We must think of the children!
Woods will be done.
It's up to
Looks
us to
like a
protect
Ewer,
the
right?
falls,
He
the
doesn't have the long
elementals.
ears. I mean, PC is the common ground most of the time. You can still say Final Fantasy is kind of exclusive because it really is like super late on Xbox, you know. She's a Ewer, yep. Doesn't have the ears. And she's shorter than the Elvens, right? Elevens. What do you call it? Elezens. They named them very weird. Like, what do you call those Hulk-like beings? That race? Rogadines? Like, what is that? Sounds like Rogaine. That medicine you put on your hair so it doesn't fall out. Right.
If you'll permit me, Alphino,
Alpha Nod.
and my sister, Alize, at your service.
Why does he sound like that? He looks like a kid. He sounds like an old man. An old
I
creepy
saw
man.
at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
An old teacher that's creepy. Creeping on your classmates. Oh, we lost the voiceover. The sylphs. Far too many races in this game. I even forgot what's that race with the horns are called? With a little bit of scales on their neck. I bet that's the least popular race on this game because I rarely see a player using that race. I even see more Vieras and those tiger-like race. Alright, yeah. It's like almost nobody uses it. I don't know on higher levels, but here during my lower level gameplays, it's a rare sight to see one. Why is the sister not talking? Is she shy? Super shy. They're twins, right? I remember those two. Brigadines is only rampant because most people create role for role-playing. Yeah, and they're dancing around in Lima Luminson. They strip down, sometimes they wear tuxedos, but most of the time I see them naked, just in their underwears, and they're just dancing around. Hey man, you like cat girls, right? Here they are. Just for you, man. A little bit of fan service. Yeah, you can even watch them in first person. One more level. Ah, here we are. Here's the destination. There we go. Oh, sorry. I accidentally kicked it.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamo herself!
And Roban as well!
What's his name? Ruban? This is the Sultana?
Hark you, souls of
Lalafell?
flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore.
Hurrah! Rauban!
Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold, where by the grace and glory of Naldal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return.
Really? They're evil?
Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous?
It's your problem, dude.
I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save?
They all get replaced. Oh, that's good news. This is the worst,
You
man.
who call this
Ruban
living,
has the worst voice
dishonor the
actor.
name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, The Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Uldar stands to fall.
Even the intro, Heavensward has much better intro.
Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth.
This Arab guy needs to put his armpit down, man.
In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Uldar, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Uldar. As Uldar prospers, so shall her people.
So number one is Shadowbringers.
Together we are one.
Is Shadowbringers the third installment? Or is it the fourth?
Your grace.
Rauban,
Raban? Raban hug. Kiss. Papa.
people of Uldar, I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you.
They're so cute.
Much has been made of the wealth of Uldar. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Uldar, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the inferno, for we are, by fire, reborn!
Doesn't even match his lip movement. The voice actor is screaming, but the model is just stopping
Forsooth!
playing.
The time is now!
I believe!
Fancy meeting you again.
Well, of course. You're here to watch as well, like me. The Ul. Who are the Uls, man? The Uldans? Level. Are you excited, bro? For that new expansion? Oh, look at that, man. She has golden weapon. And she's showing off. Oh, this is you. This is you, eh? You got golden weapon. Oh, man. I want that. The warrior. One with the blazing eyes. Is that a buff? Shield from ultimate and sword from another ultimate and the title is another ultimate. What? Legend. Oh! Those that you're brandishing. How did you get those? Are those from raids? Here we are, home sweet home. It's in a party atmosphere, party mood.
Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
A lot of Orgadines.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride.
It's pretty dope. Amongst the three, this is the best looking flag or standard.
700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
It's a bold statement. Oh yeah, hey, ha.
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilthier's bloody executioners. And together, we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
I actually don't need an addition. I already know who I'm gonna pick.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom, much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5
That guy's
long
racist.
years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano, the Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The Sahagin
bastards.
have risen?
While the mines of Ogomero spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now the curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the calamity has reopened twixt pirate and maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer
I'm
brothers
getting sleepy,
against
man.
the coming tempest.
I'm actually just gonna finish this and then I'm going to sleep. I'm no longer looking to be a warrior before the end of my stream.
Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea. Gather beneath the undying crimson standard and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Admiral Melvin!
Gather the lads!
It's probably the best.
Oh, where's
speech.
me cutlass?
I'll follow ye to the seven hells, Admiral!
Napigtilim sila sa my hometown.
Fancy meeting you again.
Fancy meeting you alone in the crowd. Again. And the other the kobolds. I will. The sea is in my blood. What's that? Telepathic? Why? Because it's cheap, man. Just 30 gil to get to Vesper Bay using that. And it gets you to Vesper Bay without you doing anything. If I teleported to the crystal, I need to run from there. This is literally auto run. Better than the regular auto run you get. Look at that. It turns by itself. Like a self-driving car. Okay. Can you tackle dungeons as a solo player, or do you need a party? Okay. Here they are. The Three Stooges. Black. Yeah, give me experience. Come on. What the heck? More cutscenes?
The gods only know what grand company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies, as though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral era warranted scarcely a mention.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity?
Just find a random party.
No, dear Alizé, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, The task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must...
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience.
Who's your grandfather? Tell me, who is your daddy? And what does he do?
There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try.
Go with you as a
Our
DJ.
paths may differ, but our destination
But I
is
didn't
the
get
same.
experience, right?
In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
My lady!
We are to escort you.
Yeah, man. See you.
Hope does not come into it.
Good
We
night.
share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
Oh, I see. That's how it works. Going with you, Storm Officer. Yes. What more quests? Okay, that's enough. I'll just do my job change quest tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, guys. See ya.
Don't forget to subscribe!